Hey guys, it's me Kiana and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing my January wrap up. In the month of January, I read 8 books, which is good because I started school the second to last week in January, and still within those 2 weeks I read like a book a week, but because there's 8 books, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. And the first book that I read in the month of January was The Rose Society by Marie Lu. This is book 2 in the Young Elite series, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And it picks up right where the Young Elites left off, with Adelina and her sister Violetta going to where the Night King is at and trying to find the elite that they hear of, that he steals the crown jewels and all of that, and they end up befriending him. And let's just say I ship him and Adelina much better than I do with Enzo and Adelina. We're introduced to a new kingdom at the end of Young Elites, so we see more of the new young queen within the second book, and we see how she's tied to the elites altogether, and I absolutely adored it. I hated the ending though, so that's why I knocked off a star, but I cannot wait to read Midnight Star. Okay, so the second book I read was Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. I was supposed to read this last month and didn't end up doing that, but I did buy it for myself. And so I read it, and this is just basically all from either Simon Lewis's perspective, Magnus Baines, Tessa Gray, Robert Lightwood, or Jace Herondale's point of view while they're at the Shadowhunter Academy in Alicante. And it's basically just Simon, you know, during his 2 years at the academy trying to become a Shadowhunter. And I loved it so much. I love the friendships that Simon created while he was in this school, how he showed the people, like, yes, I'm affiliated as this hero, but I don't remember it, so you have to stop treating me as a hero. Like, I'm not a Shadowhunter, I'm a mundane trying to become a Shadowhunter. And I love it. We see the Lightwood family, we see Emma and Julian, which helps us transition into the Dark Artifice series. And I absolutely love this. The ending killed me. For you guys who read this, know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this was a 4 out of 5 stars. The third book I read was Lumberjanes Volume 4, Out of Time. I keep forgetting who it's about. But of course, we're back with the Lumberjanes, and it's the middle of the summer, and this weird blizzard sweeps through, and the girls are separated from their counselor Joe. Joe ends up finding this old camper who's obsessed with finding monsters and killing the animals inside the forest and all of that. We get a lot more perspective about the Bear Lady and why she is important into the, you know, Lumberjanes, who she was, why it's all connected. And I absolutely love all of these. They make me laugh, they make me smile, and I cannot wait to read volumes 5 through 11 because they're awesome. So the first book I read was The Dark Prophecy, Book 2, and The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. This picks up right where we left off with Trials of Apollo, the Hidden Oracle. And now we follow Apollo while he's with Leo and Calypso, while they're going to try to find the second prophecy, which ends up being one of Apollo's sons that somehow when he died became the Dark Prophecy. And we see Meg again, and Meg ends up proving her loyalty more to Apollo than to her stepfather, but her stepfather has sent out people now to kill both Meg and Apollo. And okay, so I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And the reason for that is because a lot of stuff was repeated from the first book with the I'm Apollo, like, people should bow down to me, like, when I become a god again, I'm gonna do da-da-da-da-da. Like, he made such good growth in the first book from beginning to end, and I feel like he's just doing that all over again with every single book. We meet 2 ex-hunters from the Huntress of Artemis. We see Thalia Gray again, and at the end we are being told that they are going to go to Camp Jupiter, meaning we're going to see Hazel, Piper, Jason and Frank all over again. I did enjoy this, and I kind of spoiled myself for the Burning Maze, so yeah, let's all see how that works out. My fifth book, which took me forever to read this after I bought this last year, I finally read Gathering Darkness by Morgan Rhodes. This is book 3 in the Fallen Kingdom series. And of course, Fallen Kingdoms is one of my favorite series that I started reading because of Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes. And basically, in the first book, Fallen Kingdoms, there's 3 different continents: Uranos, Limros, and Pelagia. Pelagia being in the middle, Uranos being like the sunny place, and then Limros being the cold place. And then Limros and Pelagia team up together to try to attack Uranos, which they do, and they end up taking it over. And so we follow the last princess of Uranos, which is Princess Cleo, the king of now all 3 of them, King Gaius, his 2 children, Magnus and Lucia, and a lot of other people as they get introduced into the books. And you know, it's so much information that while you're reading it, like, you have to take notes of what's happening, because then you're gonna stop and you're gonna be like, okay, wait, what? I absolutely love this book, and this was a 5 out of 5 stars. So for my 6th book, it was my most disappointing read, and that was Wires and Nerves Volume 1 by Marissa Myers, and I gave this a 2 stars. It was basically just Eco explaining about her friend, how she wanted to be known more than just as the escort drone, and all of that. I hated it, despised it, 2 out of 5 stars, not continuing on. So my 7th book, only got this one and one left. I finally read Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars because the ending freaking murdered me. And okay, so we pick up where Queen of Shadow ends, and Aileen and her group, you know, they said goodbye to Dorian. They're making their way to Reston to see the old court to finally get Aileen back on her throne, when the group of lords like that you have to see before you enter tell her, we don't recognize you as queen, we recognize you as princess. If you get us, our army will accept you as queen and we will help you. So then they go out, I'll explain more in my book talk that is coming up like next week. But oh my god, this book murdered me, and this was a 4 out of 5 stars. So my 8th and final book, I reread The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, that is the black, and you know, has the art design. So in The Cruel Prince, we follow a girl named Jude, and when she was 7 years old, her mother and father were killed in front of her by her elder half-sister Vivian's father, because her mother was married to Vivian's father, and she left and, you know, like, faked her death, and the dude found out. So he brings all 3 girls back, and he raises Jude and her twin sister Taryn as they are Fays, and as he would have raised Vivi. And because Jude and Taryn are human, they're treated like shits in the Fate world. And because of that, Jude strives to be a knight and to be recognized, but she doesn't get her father's blessing, and she ends up helping Prince Dane, which is going to be the next future High King of the Fairy. And then everything turns sideways, and I remember reading it like how much I loved Jude going from this girl who would take getting beat up by these bullies to, I'm not playing your shit no more, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So this was a 5 out of 5 stars, and yes, I'm gonna be reading The Wicked King very soon. But those are all 8 books that I read in the month of January. If you read them and you want to, like, you know, talk about them, you should comment down below. I post Mondays and Thursdays, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you click subscribe, don't forget to click that little bell, because it'll tell you when I post. I'll be leaving here 2 videos. Honestly, feel like you guys should go check out, and I'll see you guys soon with my TBR.